The days of cable are numbered, and good riddance. We won't miss its high prices, monopolistic practices, or long-term commitments anymore. We've got streaming, which has also been raising its prices, and consolidating content libraries, and really trying to push us for long-term sign-ups. Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss? At least there aren't commercials. I really hate commercials.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
In my video about the decline of physical media, I made this comment. Different channels offering different shows, they really are reinventing cable for the internet, aren't they? And I think there's a lot of truth in that. I'm gonna have to pat myself on the back for that insight. Not that it hasn't been said a million times before. While the delivery method of streaming is more diversified than cable, at the end of the day, it's the same business. Content delivery services. Just swap out the coax and cable boxes with apps and Wi-Fi. And if a few things fall into place, then streaming can be the inheritor of a few really crappy business practices.
Yeah, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
Because guys, the cord might be cut, but the spirit of cable lives on. And there are some grim signs that the golden age of streaming is starting to end. Which is a real drag, because I love being able to subscribe to Netflix for a month, binge Stranger Things, and then drop it until I'm interested in watching something else. I guess you should enjoy it while it lasts. It was around for a good time, not a long time. The year is 2024, and we're living through a shift in power dynamics between the old media ecosystem and the new one, and it'll likely shape how we watch videos for the rest of our lives. Streaming is likely going to follow in cable's footsteps and become a real nightmare to deal with, becoming the very thing it swore to destroy. This is how streaming is reinventing cable. So how bad was cable actually? If you're watching this on YouTube, then there's a good chance you've never paid for your own cable, myself included. I mostly stopped watching TV when I learned YouTube existed, and ever since then, it's been amateur lightsaber fights, movie reviews, and video essays, like the one you're watching now. And speaking of which, if you like this video so far, please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's a lot easier than dealing with cable, which is not a very pleasant experience. The prices are out of this world expensive. This is a quote for what it would cost to get a mid-tier cable setup going in Metro Detroit. $103. That's like 5 full-price streaming services. That's crazy town. This wouldn't be so bad if you could take your business elsewhere, but most areas only have one cable company to choose from, so options are limited from the jump. Making the choice dilemma worse is how channels are bundled. You can't individually choose what channels you want to buy. They're packaged together in such a way where you have to buy all the channels or get none of them, which is very frustrating because most people aren't watching all 100 plus channels you get in a standard package. If you just want the news channels and don't care about sports, well, that's too bad. Here's a serving of sports pie you didn't ask for. And then the cherry on top of all of it, once you're in the cable ecosystem, good luck getting out unscathed.
Oh, you don't want cable anymore?
If you ever need to cancel, whether it's because you can't afford it anymore, or you're moving to a new area, you'll likely be on the hook to pay an early termination fee. And unless you wanted to go in circles with customer service for hours, you're either going to pay the penalty or keep the service and shut up, accepting it as a sunk cost and stay a subscriber forever. Because what are you going to do? Not watch TV? But that was then, and this is now. Video streaming is the antidote to all the problems of cable, with the exception of commercials. Somehow, we've gone backwards with the commercials, because now you can't speed through them like you could on DVR. It really grinds my gears. But in all other areas, streaming is the cure. But you know what they say, the difference between an antidote and poison is the dose. And we're about to get a lot of streaming. If there's one overarching reason explaining why cable companies are allowed to be so bad, it's this. It's hard to threaten to leave a service for another if there's no other game in town, which is definitely not a problem for streaming, at least for now. Streaming has always existed among other content delivery mechanisms, which may not always be the case. Linear TV, cable specifically, has been losing customers for years now. I'm 31. I don't know anyone aside from my parents who pay for cable anymore, and even they're considering cutting the cord. The majority of people still watching cable are of the older generation, so unless the youths are going to buy into the cable model en masse, and assuming the actuarial tables are accurate, within the next 20 years we should be seeing a big swing in market share for streaming, which means they'll be the undisputed market leaders for the first time. You might be thinking, this is no big deal. There's dozens of streaming apps out there. If one were to step out line by wildly raising prices or removing features, then the others would be able to outcompete them in the long run, right? I'm not so sure. Unless you're one of the first major streaming sites, like Netflix or YouTube, it's been pretty difficult to make a profit. The mid-tier services like Peacock and Paramount Plus just don't offer enough with their own libraries. Even Max is struggling. They only turned a profit for the first time last year, and that was after making massive cuts and canceling projects. This wouldn't be happening if you never dropped HBO from your name. I'm still salty about that. I hate saying the word Max. Like, just Max. Like, Give me some kind of prefix like Mr. Max. Like, just give me something. I hate Max so much. Alright, recomposing myself. What I think we're witnessing is the vindication of cable's bundling system. The bundle is a huge cash cow for the channel owners, who can rely on guaranteed income from millions of customers who wouldn't otherwise pay for their content. It's the only way you can get Fox News viewers to pay for MSNBC or CNN, and vice versa. The streamers are picking up on this. Bundling has recently entered into the streaming lexicon. Disney is leveraging their horizontal integration by offering Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus at a discounted rate. But they also have a variant with Max, and there's another separate bundle featuring Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV, albeit through a cable provider. Why does it make sense for competitors to work with each other like this?
Money!
Bundling is a win-win for all the streamers involved, as they'd all be guaranteed revenue from customers who likely wouldn't be subscribing to their content in the first place, or who would otherwise drop it after a binge watch. This has been a huge competitive edge for streaming services compared to cable. No commitments, cancel anytime, is one of the first promises Netflix makes to you when you go to sign up. I know people who will buy Netflix for a month for when the newest season of Cobra Kai comes out, and cancel it immediately when they're done watching. As a customer, it's awesome, but it also causes a retention problem. The streamers want to minimize the amount of people who end their subscriptions. This is called churn, and there's a natural way to avoid it, by creating great content that keeps people invested long term, but that's expensive. A cheaper and easier way to reduce churn is to offer discounts on year-long subscriptions, which in a vacuum, no big deal. If you know you're going to be watching Disney Plus throughout the year, then it makes sense to take the discount and pay for the annual plan. The customer effectively gets 2 months for free, and the business gets more money up front and the guarantee that the customer won't be able to drop them after a binge watch. And bonus points if they forget to turn off the automatic renew button. However, there's a potential world where the streaming companies make the annual subscription their only entry point, phasing out the monthly model entirely. This hasn't happened yet, and I think the first company to do it would get roasted for it forever, and they would deserve it. It's a real scummy move. I feel kind of bad giving them the idea, but if enough of them took the plunge together, over time it might work.
Is that legal?
I will make it legal.
As streaming takes more market share from linear TV, they'll attract the attention of regulators, especially if the streamers were to outright merge with each other. The streamers are taking it seriously enough that they started a lobbying group. The Streaming Innovation Alliance is bringing together some of the biggest names in the industry, all with the shared goal of trying to reduce regulations and avoid paying taxes. In the past, Congress and other federal agencies have been successful in governing how the cable companies conduct business, to an extent. As recently as 2023, the FCC passed a rule banning early termination fees. Whether or not they'll be successful in regulating streaming is up in the air. Cable is more or less treated as a utility company because of its monopoly over its infrastructure, and they provide other services other than TV, like phone and internet. The streaming apps in comparison are not that critical. They're luxury entertainment products. No one is dying because they're not able to watch the latest Mandalorian or reruns of 30 Rock. Arguments about regulating them in the public interest kind of fall flat to me because at the end of the day, premium entertainment is not essential. I don't know about you, but I'm just as entertained watching user-generated content here on YouTube. And at least for now, YouTube is free. Well, except for the ads. We'll never truly get away from those. I'm not sure what the direct path to a single streaming monopoly looks like, but there is a sense that the streaming companies know they can do more together. And I know that absent government regulation or total revolt from the consumer, prices will continue to rise and barriers will be raised to deny new competitors from getting in. And here's the kicker to all this. Your average consumer will likely accept changes as time goes on. We're just coming to the realization that the golden era of streaming is coming to an end. And it'll be nice to tell our kids about someday. About the joys of a la carte streaming, and being able to cancel plans whenever. We sure had it good. It was a good time, but not a long one. Thank you for watching the whole way through, even though it got a little dark at the end. Sometimes I worry about being too fatalistic about the future of media. Do you think we should be cynical towards these streaming companies? Or do you have faith that the market will work itself out? Or that the government will be able to keep things in check? I'm sometimes torn, but today, I'm feeling extra pessimistic. I'd like to know what you think, so please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time.